Welcome back. So in a previous video I shared about how I was recruited into Jehovah's Witness organisation at age 14 in 1996. So this time I want to take you a little bit further into what life was really like as a Jehovah's Witness teen, what I experienced, what I was told to believe, and mainly how fear shaped my identity from the very beginning. So, daily life, being as Jehovah's Witness teen, it wasn't just about going to the meetings, to the Kingdom Hall. It was very much about strict control over pretty much every aspect of life. As many probably know, we weren't allowed to celebrate birthdays or Christmas, well, actually any holiday, because they were considered to be pagan or worldly. We had to attend multiple weekly meetings, study the Watchtower literature, go knocking door to door, preaching, no matter the weather or, how I felt. School was quite tense. Obviously, I couldn't participate in any birthdays, Christmas, national holidays, all the things that like normal kids do. And obviously I was told not to get too close to anyone outside the faith. And everyone worldly was a potential danger to my spirituality. Now, one of the biggest things to do with Jehovah's Witnesses is the teaching on a blood transfusion, or the ban. So Jehovah's Witnesses believe that taking blood is sin, even in life and death emergencies, and that is based on their interpretation of a few of the Bible verses, like Acts chapter 15 verse 28 to 29, but it's used to justify letting people, sometimes children, to die rather than accept a transfusion. There was a death in Riga in 1996, just a few weeks after I got baptized. A 17-year-old girl named Elena Godlevskaya. She actually got in an accident in Riga and died a few days later after refusing blood transfusion. She was 17 and she was one of us. And she died because of this doctrine that I had just pledged my life to. So that September I was at school, and the weight of that event really started to hang it over me. People were talking. I actually felt really ashamed and confused and terrified that anyone would find out that I had just become a Jehovah's Witness. So I didn't exactly make it public, although, people did find out, and the anxiety was absolutely crippling. I didn't know how to hold that cognitive dissonance. How can something claiming to be God's truth demand a teenager's life? Because I was just turned 15 and she was just 17. My daughter's 17 now. So, but I was quite deep into it. It's that, you don't realise the impact it has on you. The emotional control is powerful. I was constantly scared of displeasing Jehovah, of getting disfellowshipped, mainly dying at Armageddon. I did believe it at the time. And I was taught to fear people outside the cult and to feel guilt any time I even thought of questioning their doctrines. And even my own thoughts weren't safe because, like I said before, this independent thinking was considered dangerous. So I had internalized that belief that my survival and my worth depended on being completely obedient to the Watchtower Society. And looking back, I see now that I wasn't being spiritually guided. I was just being controlled. And unfortunately, I stayed for 2 decades, which I will go into later as to why and what happened. It would take many years for me to wake up, and then even more to actually reclaim my power. So next time I will share the signs that I began to notice that made me start to question things, and maybe, you know, it was a high control group, that it was actually a cult. And also, if this resonates with you, you know, please know you're not alone. Your story matters, and there is life after this. So thank you for being here, and I'll speak to you next time.